Hey guys, Philip here, and just want to make a quick vlog slash review about the movie The Great Wall, since a lot of people in our community, the Asian American community, are talking about it. So last night I went to the premiere. In case you're unfamiliar with the movie, basically it's a Chinese-American co-production. It's a huge blockbuster, monster, popcorn flick. It stars a bunch of amazing Chinese actors, has a super huge Chinese director, Zhang Yimou, and stars Matt Damon. Well, stars is loosely, yeah, he's the lead. Anyways, now you can imagine when the trailer first came out last summer, and as the promotional materials were coming out, there was a lot of people upset about the casting of Matt Damon because of the legitimate fear that this was going to be a movie that perpetuates a white savior. In case you guys don't know what that means, it's basically, you know, just there's a lot of Hollywood movies where there's people of color or minority groups. The story is set in their country and they need a white guy to come in and save the day. We've seen it in a lot of movies before. A lot of people were drawing comparisons to The Last Samurai, and people were afraid that this was going to be that once again. Now, going into the premiere yesterday, I'll admit, I actually was not that upset at this whole movie. Yes, when I first saw the trailer and heard the news about it, I was a little concerned. Then I did a little bit of research on the project and who was involved, like the companies. And the more I learned about this being a co-production between the Chinese film industry and the American film industry, I kind of started to soften up. Maybe it's because like I've peeked behind the curtain before. I've been to Beijing, I've been in these meetings and had these conversations with studios and executives, and I understand what is going on with the film industry there and the economics behind trying to cross-promote, cross-market films in general. So really my only issue going into the premiere was just worried about this white savior image or narrative being perpetuated. So I watched the movie, and let's just talk about the movie first. There's some spoilers that I want to get into in this review also, but I'll save those for the very end. As a film, it was fine. It was a fine film, which is sad to say for something so expensive, but it was fine. The action was great. I think the story was pretty cool. It's like the cultural folklore of it. I think the imagery of China and the armies and the technology and the Great Wall was really awesome to see, like in like a mainstream blockbuster movie. I've grown up watching a bunch of these, you know, huge Chinese war epic movies, so it's kind of cool to think about the fact that some kid in Nebraska is gonna see that in the movie theater, like kind of probably for the first time. Main problem is that a lot of the characters fell really flat, or all their characteristics were just kind of like one layer deep, and I feel like that was probably due to just a lot of cooks in the kitchen, a lot of trying to appease China market and trying to appease American market. I can imagine them wanting to write one of the Chinese generals like being weak, for example, but someone saying, hey, you know what, we can't do that because it makes Chinese people look weak. But it's like, that's so unfortunate because sometimes you need a character to be weak. The character doesn't represent all of China, but that's, I guess, what they were balancing with this film, is that literally everything was going to be scrutinized. And so what ends up happening is that you end up with a very bland movie and very bland characters. But overall, it was fine. I think if you're going in not triggered or upset about the issues I'm about to talk about, you'll be proud to see, you know, Andy Lau up there. You'll be proud of Zhang Yimou for working with Matt Damon. And it was better than Dawn of Justice. And I kind of like Dawn of Justice, but let's say the potential of what Batman v Superman was supposed to be and what it actually was, that difference is different from what I had here. Like, I guess I didn't have that high expectations going in, and it didn't disappoint me that much either. All right, now let's get into the political, controversial stuff. So the main issue with everyone is, why the hell is Matt Damon in this movie? Why did we need Matt Damon to come into China? This is just a classic case of Hollywood marginalizing Asians and supporting white superiority. And as Asian Americans, that's really tough to see because we don't want media to show us that we're any less. And that is a totally valid point. Just to clarify, this movie was not an issue of whitewashing. I don't think this is the same as like Doctor Strange or Ghost in the Shell or Martian, if we're talking about Matt Damon, because those were pre-existing works that had characters that had races and ethnicities assigned to them, and they were changed in order to fit an actor. This was completely fictional. It's a monster movie. It's not historical whatsoever. And they just wanted a famous white guy to help get American eyeballs, Western eyeballs. So I understand where a lot of this like uproar is coming from. But the truth is, if you zoom out just a little bit, you'll see that it's not really fair, because that's Asian Americans putting our agenda and what we need to happen here in American Hollywood onto the Chinese people, the Chinese people over there, and what they're trying to do with their own agenda in terms of like their economics, their film industry, and their nation. The mission that Asian Americans are on here is probably not really high on their priority list. But I actually think that it could have indirect effects that do help us in the bigger picture, which I'll get into later. They're trying to help their cause, they're not trying to help ours, and we can't really expect them to fight our fight for us because we're actually not the same. There's all these tweets and comments and whatever about like, oh, Hollywood, you guys can't do this. Hollywood, I can't believe you guys did this. Actually, it wasn't Hollywood that did this to us. It was China that did this to us. Like, if you guys want to be upset, like, we can only be upset at ourselves or the motherland. This was Chinese studios, Chinese money, working with American studios and American distribution. It was a true co-production. Like they just reached over at Asian Americans. They weren't even like thinking about us. It was a Chinese director, Chinese actors, super excited to get to work on this scale and make an American movie, and it was American studios super excited that they could do something together and reach the Chinese market as well. And these America, China, co-productions are already happening. We saw it in Independence Day, we saw it in Transformers. All those other times, they've just put like one Chinese actor as like a super small, meaningless role, and America was like, cool, so we got the Chinese audience, right? And finally, China was like, no, you guys can't do that because we know we're not that dumb. We want to have a major part in these American-China co-productions. And so the response is, there are big Chinese stars with significant roles right alongside Matt Damon. Problem is that here in America, we got marketing that showed just Matt Damon, and so I think it really inaccurately portrayed this movie as like Matt Damon in China, when really like more than half the movie is not even in English and doesn't even have Matt Damon in it. Honestly, like, if you look at the promo materials in China, it doesn't even seem like Matt Damon's in this movie. They could have even cut a version of this movie without Matt Damon even in it. All these things considered, I just couldn't stay that mad at this film. Because the next question you need to ask is, okay, if you're mad, what would you rather have happened? I asked it to several people that were upset, and they're just like, I just wish they casted an Asian. My response to that would be, okay, that'd be great. Now, are you okay with nobody watching this movie? Or this movie not even getting made? And some people thought, yeah, like maybe it is better if it wasn't made, which I don't really agree with, and I know people bring up, well, Crouching Tiger, like that was all Asian and did really well. Crouching Tiger was, first of all, 17 years ago. The expectations of Chinese blockbuster didn't even exist yet, and it was like an art house, small foreign film that just kind of blew up. This was meant to be swinging for the fences, blockbuster, popcorn flick from the beginning, so they had to come out, swinging and with the big guns. And actually, the director Zhang Yimou did make another Chinese epic war movie, back in 2007 or something, called Curse of the Golden Flower. Had full Asian cast, was made in China, distributed in America, and no one watched it. I wonder how many people that are upset saying it should have been an all Asian cast watched Curse of the Golden Flower, because that was literally the movie then that you guys probably wanted. And that's exactly what would have happened, and that's exactly what they didn't want The Great Wall to be. So I genuinely believe that this was a form of progress. I think a lot of people would disagree, but I really do. Even if you disagree with that, I think at least the net effect on Asians was like zero. It's like, yes, we did like lose a step because of a hint of white saviorness, but hey, we gained that back because mainstream America gets to see a lot of Chinese culture, they get to see Chinese people looking badass, and they get to see like good-looking Asian guys. Does it perpetuate the white savior? Sorta, but not totally. There are some Chinese characters in the film that are super strong, and there are some that are weak and needed to be saved by Matt Damon. There are some weaker non-Chinese characters that get saved by strong Chinese characters. So overall, it felt pretty balanced, even in terms of who finally saved China, because that seems to be like what ultimately is the judgment. You have to wait till the end. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but it might be surprising actually. In the end, I'm not saying you should support the movie. I'm just saying you don't have to hate the movie either. Fair enough, right? Either way, I'm just glad that we're talking about it. It's cool that we have voices out there that are galvanizing people and getting support. We're coming together and we're getting behind certain causes, so that's good. And there's gonna be people that are gonna hear my stance and probably be super upset and say that I don't get it or that they're disappointed in me. This is a one-way thing, it really sucks. I can't have a dialogue with you. But I'm just trying to encourage people to not read a headline and just think, okay, that's what it is. And that's not just in terms of this movie, that's in general with news these days. In this era of Trump and politics right now, we really gotta be vigilant consumers of news, and we gotta do our research. Even with this movie, you can't really be upset until you've seen it. And that is not an endorsement for you to go spend your money on this film. That's just saying you really don't know until you've seen it to pass judgment yourself. So find whatever way you can to watch it, and then you can leave an angry comment. And if you're still mad at me or at this movie, I challenge you guys to think about what is your solution then. Because what's the use of getting all worked up if there's no action behind it? Get mad, then get informed, then get to work. All right, now that we got all that out of the way, if you guys don't want to watch the movie, you guys don't want to give them your money, totally fine. I'll let you guys know what happened. Okay, here are the spoilers, all right? There are moments of white saviorness, but not in the sense that it's like, oh, we gotta give the white guy this savior role. It's just that Matt Damon is the lead, and the lead has to do things that make him look cool and make him look like a likable guy. So he helps a soldier out, he comforts someone, he shows off his amazing archery skills in front of like the Chinese army. So yes, there are moments where he came in and saved the day despite there being like thousands and thousands of soldiers. It was literally this one random guy that is doing all the work. But all we care about is who truly saved China. Did Matt Damon save China? Here's the thing, yes, but that's only half true. At the end of the movie, there's this one final thing that they have to do, and it's Matt Damon and this young, strong female character, and they literally like hand in hand, kind of like arm in arm because of the situation that they're in, not romantic. They literally save China together. Chinese people and white people are saving the day. And actually, it's Matt Damon's character that sets up General Lin to take the final blow. So technically, it was a Chinese person that saved China. Everyone thinks it's a white savior, but actually, the truth is it was the Chinese person, Chinese woman. And honestly, should we be surprised? Do you really think China, with all their money going into this, would have let America look like they were better than them? No way. So if you hear people talking about like, oh yeah, well I don't want to watch a movie about Matt Damon saving China, it was totally a collaborative effort, and actually it was the Chinese person that delivered the final blow. That you should know. And finally, the most terrifying part of these types of movies, did the white guy kiss and fall in love with the Asian girl? At the very end, Matt Damon and Jing Tian are face to face saying goodbye, and I was like, just like, oh my god, don't do it, don't do it. Like there was no romance in the entire movie, and they were saying goodbye, it was quiet, and then it just cut. And I was like, ah. Oh. There's no Last Samurai moment, they just parted ways, and I was like, thank God. Those are all the spoilers I think you guys really cared about. Hope you guys appreciate my opinion. I appreciate yours too if you guys want to be respectful in the comments. It's good for our community to discuss and debate. It's healthy for us. We're at a great point for Asian Americans in entertainment, and it's good for us to communicate. I think there's going to be a lot of great things ahead. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, follow. See you on Wong Fu. Bye guys.